individuals who have looked to clues in his shows or his songs for alleged connections to Celeste, and to be clear, nothing has officially been verified. Here's the thing, even if you look at lyrics from his song Romantic Homicide from back in 2022, this is what seems to be creating the conversation. The lyrics say, I mean, even in the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. But again, nothing remotely to suggest this has anything to do with Celeste.
Pig parties aren't just a rumor whispered in dark corners of LA. They're the infamous legend of Hollywood's underbelly. These aren't red carpet premieres or glitzy press tours. These are the secret after-hours rooms where the rules vanish, reputations are built, and souls allegedly get sold. KA claims the real Hollywood doesn't happen on set at all. It happens behind locked doors where power moves are made. Now here's the jaw dropper. David's name is suddenly being dragged into this shadowy world because of what happened with Celeste Riva Hernandez, a 15-year-old girl found dead in his Tesla. Her cause of death deferred. Her connection to him confirmed by friends who swore they thought she was his college girlfriend. They described David as shy, quiet, gentle. But the streets are calling it something else entirely. Guilt disguised as silence. Katt's angle hits hard because everyone knows in Hollywood nothing's free. You want the spotlight, you want the contract, you want to be the next chosen one, allegedly you gotta give something up. And the word in back channels is that Celeste wasn't just a tragic headline. She was a transaction, a sacrifice linked to one of those so-called pig parties. Sounds insane, right? But the timing lines up like a crime scene board. David shoots from a TikTok nobody to an Interscope-backed artist with millions of streams, a debut album, and mainstream buzz, all while Celeste's life spirals. She disappears, is reported missing multiple times, and then is found in his trunk. Instead of a high-octane investigation, we get half statements, no coroner closure, and complete silence from him. That's why people are talking. The story won't die. Now this is where the whispers hit closer to home. David isn't some washed-up has-been trying to grab relevance. He's that quiet, mysterious kid who blew up overnight. From TikTok tracks to a full-blown Interscope deal before most people could even pronounce his stage name. To fans, it looked like a Cinderella come-up. But to the gossip world, it looked like a shortcut with a price tag. And right in the middle of that timeline, Celeste Riva Hernandez. On paper, just a 15-year-old girl reported missing multiple times in 2024, later found lifeless in the trunk of David's Tesla. But that's where everything starts to look suspicious. Friends claim they saw her with him often, at clubs, music events, even age-restricted industry parties. They thought she was 19, a USC college student. She wasn't. She was allegedly sneaking into grown spaces with fake IDs, and every time, David was never far behind. That's why this sacrifice narrative refuses to die. Katt Williams keeps repeating that Hollywood always wants a trade-off. You don't rise without handing over something. And in this twisted interpretation, Celeste was allegedly that offering. Her vanishing acts, her repeated missing person reports, her tragic discovery, all aligned perfectly with the exact moment David's fame went nuclear. So the question people can't stop asking, was Celeste collateral or was she currency? And the symbolism doesn't make things any easier to ignore. David's breakout track, Romantic Homicide, carried that chilling lyric. In the back of my mind, I do. Back then, fans thought it was just poetic heartbreak. Now they replay it and it sounds like a confession in plain sight. Even his alter ego, Eat Tommy, a character soaked in blood imagery, feels different now. What used to seem like edgy creativity suddenly looks like something darker, something coded. Maybe it's art, or maybe it's a message hidden in plain view. A rising star, a sudden tragedy, a wall of silence from his team. And yet, his career keeps climbing until the whispers start catching up. That's why when people say Celeste was David's alleged sacrifice, they're not talking about hard evidence, they're talking about the bone-chilling pattern. Fame goes up, a life goes down. The idea that one life was cut short so another could rise, that's the story that has people glued to their screens. And if all of that really happened at one of the pig parties Katt Williams warns about, it would make Celeste's death feel less like an accident and more like an initiation ritual. at least in the eyes of the conspiracy crowd. The reason this sacrifice theory around David and Celeste refuses to die down is because it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Hollywood has a long, ugly history of whispers about stars allegedly giving something up right before their biggest break. People bring up Whitney Houston every time. Even now, fans still side-eye the eerie detail that she died the same weekend Clive Davis held his legendary pre-Grammy party, her body upstairs while music executives toasted downstairs. And then, just years later, her daughter Bobby Christina was found in circumstances so similar it was dubbed by conspiracy forums as the double sacrifice, a generational price allegedly paid to keep the machine running. Then there's Kanye West, who didn't even hint at it. He said it out loud. He claimed his mother Donda was his sacrifice. Whether you believe him or not, the timing lines up. Right after her passing, his career shifted from rising rapper to global mogul. Katt Williams often points to Kanye as proof that even insiders will admit the game isn't clean. Aaliyah's tragedy in 2001 is another one. Officially, it was a plane crash, but plenty of people still whisper about the shady details. The pilot allegedly pressured to overload the aircraft, the rising star power she held right before her death. That tragedy cemented her as an icon and left her lane wide open for others in the industry to step into. And even Michael Jackson fits the template. His sudden 2009 death came right before his massive comeback tour that was expected to generate billions. Officially, his autopsy ruled it a homicide by propofol overdose, but conspiracy theorists frame it as something bigger. A megastar allegedly removed because he was becoming too powerful, too independent of the system. And then there's the party culture side of it all. Diddy's infamous gatherings have long been painted as freak-offs where artists aren't just entertained. They're allegedly tested, compromised, and controlled. The same blueprint Katt Williams keeps shouting about: parties as power plays, parties as traps, and parties as rituals. It feels like history playing on a loop. Young, bright stars surrounded by tragedy, silence from their camp, and whispers of a ritualistic price being paid. The parallels are what make the public lean in harder because if it happened before, Whitney, Aaliyah, Kanye's mom, Michael, why wouldn't it happen again? Allegedly, Hollywood doesn't invent new scandals, it recycles old ones, and Celeste may have been the newest name on a very long, very dark list. What keeps this story alive isn't just Celeste's heartbreaking end or David's meteoric rise. It's how the whole thing feels like deja vu. Another young life gone too soon, another artist suddenly elevated, another moment where Hollywood's dirtiest rumors line up a little too perfectly with real-world headlines. Katt Williams has been screaming this for years. He swears the industry doesn't run on talent alone. There's a toll, and you either pay it or you get locked out. Whether you believe he's exposing a hidden truth or just stirring the pot, Celeste's story makes his warning sound less like comedy and more like prophecy hovering over David's career. And the silence is deafening. David hasn't spoken publicly, hasn't posted, hasn't offered a single denial or explanation. He canceled his tour, shut down his lease, and vanished from the public eye. To his fans, that might look like grief or legal caution, but to the gossip crowd, it looks like guilt. If he's innocent, why not speak up? If Celeste's death was an accident, why not clear the air every single day? With every passing day of silence, the whispers grow teeth. For Celeste, the legacy is even more haunting. She was just 15, reported missing multiple times, allegedly walking into clubs and industry events with fake IDs like a college kid with a bright future ahead of her. Instead, she became a cautionary tale, another young girl swallowed by the machine. The saddest part? Her name is now remembered more in conspiracy threads than in memorials. That's the real tragedy of how gossip collides with grief. And then there's Hollywood itself. These pig party rumors aren't fading. If anything, Celeste's story has given them fresh fuel. People already side-eye Diddy's infamous gatherings. They already believe Jaguar writes confessions. They already recall Kanye's words about Donda. And now, a 15-year-old found dead in a Tesla linked to a rising star? That's the kind of headline that makes every old rumor look brand new again. So what happens next? Maybe nothing. Maybe this story fades into the silence like so many before it. Or maybe another insider steps forward, someone with nothing to lose, another voice like Katt Williams, willing to risk ridicule to tell the kind of stories the industry desperately wants buried. Because here's the cruel irony. The more Hollywood says nothing, the louder the whispers get. And right now those whispers are screaming. Celeste wasn't just a victim, she was allegedly a sacrifice. And if that's true, then David's career isn't the start of a fairy tale. It's the opening act of a curse.